Welcome to Trackmania² Stadium Reverse Checkpoint, a project started by me and my pal MT180. The goal of the challenge is to complete as many of the 65 tracks in the official campaign as possible. The catch is, we have to collect all of the checkpoints in the reverse order. We deemed only 8 of these tracks impossible. A12, B11, D07, D08, D12, E01, E02, and E03. Somehow, by performing some insane shenanigans, the remainder were possible. Although everything went well on A01, we immediately started noticing issues on A02. It seemed pretty simple, just start from the finish and backtrack to the last checkpoint. But sadly, nothing's ever that simple. And we see here that even by bypassing this obstacle, we reach a much larger one. There doesn't seem to be any way to generate vertical momentum to get onto this platform, so we looked at finding a route from the start of the map, but we're met with a stone wall. There's no way to get around this checkpoint seemingly. But MT invented an ingenious solution called checkpoint climbing, which is extremely tedious and requires a ton of skill. Next up was A03, the shortest map in the campaign. It's only these 2 checkpoints, but you see, you can't really collect these backwards. It's not like you can jump from here up to there. It's just not possible.
Why isn't it possible?
We drove through here to collect the last checkpoint first, and then we invented another key piece of this project, Doomspire strategies. By amassing a ridiculous amount of speed by running around the stadium in circles, we could hit this doom spire and fling ourselves up to the very top of the track. allowing us to re-enter, collect the first checkpoint, and get to the finish of the track. Moving on to the fourth track in the challenge, things didn't get any easier. For the majority of the challenge, AO4 was assumed to be impossible. The only feasible solution was to try checkpoint climbs, but that was impossible because there were uphill checkpoints, and the sideways checkpoint blocks hadn't been tested yet, although it was later found that they are possible. Upon more investigation, we found a doom spire close to the finish, which would have been perfect, except for this pool border here. It seemed impossible to get lucky enough hitting the pool border to have enough speed to get up the doom spire. MT even went as far to call it impossible, but I ended up pulling it off. After AO5, there's really not anything tricky until A12, which is impossible, so I probably won't have to be the explainer for the next few. One thing I forgot to mention is that AO8 doesn't have any checkpoints, so it's not going to be part of the challenge. The impossibility of A12 comes from getting from this checkpoint to this checkpoint. There's nothing we can use to jump off of to get up here. We have looked at this level for hours, and there's just nothing, no chance. So that's why it's one of the 8 impossible levels. Although I had spent the time to make a route and play it for A13, MT pointed something out to me that I had failed to realize before. There was only one checkpoint, so it was the same forwards as it was backwards, so it shouldn't even be included in the challenge. I'll show a bit of my route anyways, just for the sake of showing it off. And we end the white series off with this behemoth of a map, A15, which is a multi-lap that requires a checkpoint climb. Not only that, but anytime you mess up the checkpoint climb, when you respawn, you have to drive the majority of the track just to get back to where you were. Not to mention how bad the setup is. AO2 might be technically harder, but this is definitely a lot more annoying. I'm definitely going to cut out the majority of this run, even though it's very admirable. And that was Trackmania² Stadium Reverse Checkpoint. A huge mouthful and a really hard project. Part 2 will be out soon, where we do the green series, and then there will be another video on the blue series, and then one with the red and black series. Stay tuned, thanks for watching, goodbye.